On my daughter's wedding morning, our family driver pushed me into the trunk and threw a blanket over me. "What the hell are you doing?" I yelled. "Sir, please hide in here. Don't say a word. You need to see this, trust me," he said. Minutes later, what I saw through the crack left me completely frozen. Hi everyone. My name is Asher Okoye. I am 52 years old. I am a civil engineer by profession, known across several states for designing durable highways and community housing projects that have stood strong through floods and seasons of neglect. People often describe me as measured, observant, and deeply loyal. Loyalty is not something I speak about lightly. It is something I live. I was raised by a father who fixed engines with cracked hands and a mother who sold vegetables under the burning sun. From them I learned that a man's worth is revealed in how firmly he stands behind the people he loves. And there was no one I stood behind more firmly than my wife. My wife, Miriam Okoye, is 50 years old. She is a retired school principal, respected, composed, the type of woman whose presence alone could quiet a noisy room. Miriam is not soft in the fragile sense. She is strong in the way ancient trees are strong. Calm during storms. Unmoving when pressure builds. For 30 years, we were not just husband and wife. We were partners in every sense. When my first construction contract nearly bankrupted me, she sold her jewelry without telling me. When she wanted to open a private learning center, I mortgaged a piece of land to fund it. Every major decision we made was shoulder to shoulder. People used to say, "Asher always has his wife's back." They were right. And she always had mine. We never drank alcohol. It was a quiet agreement we made early in our marriage. At celebrations, while others held wine glasses, Miriam and I would raise sparkling water instead. She used to say clarity of mind was the finest luxury. On the morning of our daughter's wedding, I believed my life was proof that loyalty returns loyalty. The sun rose slowly, washing our compound in gold. Musicians tuned their instruments near the entrance. Women arranged flowers along the aisle. The scent of shea butter and fresh bread drifted through the air. My daughter, Lila, was 26 years old. A pediatric nurse. Gentle, intelligent, and fiercely compassionate. If a child cried within 10 meters, Lila would find them. She was marrying Daniel Adebayo, 29, an architect with a quiet demeanor and what I believed was steady character. He came from a respectable family and spoke with the kind of humility that earns trust. Everything felt right. I adjusted my cream agbada and stepped outside, already hearing guests arriving. Then our family driver rushed toward me. Kofi Mensah is 38 years old, formerly a military transport officer before choosing a quieter life. He is disciplined, rarely emotional, and careful with his words. In 8 years, I had never seen panic on his face. Until that morning. "Sir," he said, breathing hard. "Please come with me immediately." "What is it, Kofi?" "No time to explain. Please trust me." Trust. The word landed heavily. He led me toward the black SUV parked behind the jacaranda tree. Before I could ask another question, he opened the trunk. I frowned. "Why are you opening the trunk?" Then he pushed me inside. On my daughter's wedding morning, our family driver pushed me into the trunk and threw a blanket over me. "What the hell are you doing?" I shouted. "Sir, please hide in here. Don't say a word. You need to see this." "Trust me," he said. There was fear in his voice. Not panic. Protective fear. The trunk closed. Darkness pressed around me. The engine started. We drove only a short distance before stopping. Again, footsteps approached. Through a narrow crack where the trunk did not seal completely, I saw the driveway. Then I saw them, Miriam and Daniel. They stood close, speaking in low voices. My heartbeat slowed, not from calm but from instinct. When something serious approaches, the body sometimes becomes very still. Daniel spoke first. "Is everything ready?" Miriam nodded. "Yes, but we must be careful. Today is about Lila. Nothing must disturb her happiness." I leaned closer to the crack. "Careful about what?" Daniel exhaled. "I still feel terrible hiding this from Asher." Miriam placed a hand on his arm. You will not hide it for long. After the ceremony, we tell him together. Respectfully. My mind stumbled. Tell me what? Daniel looked down. Are you sure he will accept it? He may struggle at first, she said softly. But Asher is a fair man. He raised our daughter to follow her heart. He cannot deny me the same dignity. A strange chill moved through me. Then Daniel said the words that froze my blood. I love your sister, Amara. I want to marry her properly. No more secrecy. My chest tightened. Amara, Miriam's younger sister, 39 years old, a travel consultant who had lived abroad for years before returning recently after losing her husband. I remembered the quiet conversations. The late evening phone calls. Miriam defending Amara whenever relatives whispered that she should not remarry so soon. Miriam smiled gently at Daniel. You have been honorable, waiting until today so Lila's joy is untouched. After we speak to Asher, we announce the engagement next month. Daniel nodded. Thank you for supporting us. Many families would have reacted badly. My husband is not many families, Miriam replied with quiet pride. He is a just man. The air rushed back into my lungs so suddenly I almost coughed. Good God, I had expected scandal. Instead, I found protection. Respect. Planning. Not betrayal. Kofi opened the trunk minutes later. I climbed out slowly, my knees still adjusting to reality. Sir, he said anxiously, I thought you should see. They have been meeting quietly for weeks. I feared something improper. I placed a hand on his shoulder. You did exactly right, Kofi. You protected this family. Then I did something I rarely do. I laughed, not loudly, just enough to release the tension that had nearly broken my ribs. Sir, he asked. There is no affair, I said. There is a proposal. Relief flooded his face. We returned to the house as if nothing had happened. The ceremony began under a wide ivory canopy. Guests shimmered in bright fabrics. Children chased each other between chairs. Music rose and fell like a tide. When Lila appeared in her gown, my vision blurred. Not from age, from gratitude. As I walked her down the aisle, she squeezed my arm. Papa, why are you smiling like that? Because today reminds me that love grows. It does not divide. After the vows, after the applause, after the photographs, Miriam approached me holding 2 tall glasses. Sparkling water. Tiny bubbles climbing toward the surface. She handed one to me. To clarity, she said with a small smile. I raised my glass. To standing together. We drank. No alcohol. Just the clean, bright taste we had shared at every milestone of our lives. Later that evening, as the sky softened into amber, Miriam led me to a quieter corner of the garden. Asher, there is something I must tell you. I pretended to consider. Does it involve Daniel and your sister? Her eyes widened. You already know. I overheard enough. She searched my face. Are you angry? No. She let out a breath that seemed held for weeks. I wanted to protect Lila's day, she said. Amara was terrified people would gossip. Daniel insisted on waiting so our daughter would never feel overshadowed. I nodded slowly. You chose dignity. I respect that. She touched my hand. We built a family rooted in fairness. I could not act differently now. At that moment, Daniel approached with Amara beside him. She looked nervous, twisting her fingers together. Asher, Daniel said carefully, I would like your blessing. Not as Lila's husband only, but as a man who hopes to join this family again. Properly. I studied him, his posture, his eyes. No deception, only earnest hope. Then I turned to Amara. Will he make you laugh? I asked. She blinked in surprise. Every day. Will he stand beside you when life becomes difficult? He already has. I extended my hand. Then you have my blessing. Amara burst into tears. Miriam squeezed my arm so tightly I felt it through the fabric. Later, when the music softened and lanterns flickered across the lawn, Lila came running toward us. Why is Aunt Amara crying? Miriam smiled. Because sometimes happiness arrives quietly, then overwhelms you. Within minutes the news spread, and instead of scandal, celebration doubled. Guests cheered at the thought of another wedding in the future. As the night deepened, Miriam and I sat side by side watching our children dance. You trusted me, she said quietly. Always. She rested her head briefly against my shoulder. And you always have my back. I looked around at the laughter, the music, the joining of lives. Revenge has no place in a home like this. Only understanding does. I lifted my glass of sparkling water once more. To loyalty, I whispered. Miriam clinked her glass against mine. To partnership. And in that gentle sound of glass meeting glass, I understood something with absolute certainty. The strongest foundations are not made of concrete or steel. They are built from two people who choose, again and again, to stand behind each other no matter what approaches from the dark. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And tell me, what would you have done if you were in my place?